Give a round of applause for the next speaker.
Depression is more than just being sad, rather a combination of problems that affect over 300 million people, which is equivalent to 4.1% of the world's population, and that statistic's growing. The scope of the statistic tells us that with this many people, any one of us could be affected by depression. This is subject matter considered very important to me after extensive research and personal experiences as a veteran with many colleagues greatly affected by depression and other mental health issues. My name is Evelyn Krabavian, and today I will be discussing the urgent need for better mental health treatment within our community by removing stigmas and making it readily available. I will present research that dives into the severity of mental health neglect within the community, which groups are the most affected by the lack of access to resources, and how developing far-reaching targeted programs will provide a positive step towards a solution. All it takes to solve a problem sometimes is to begin talking about it. The inability to take care of our mental health has many root causes, but the overall consequences remain serious. It begins with identifying the signs that someone is in trouble, but even still, we are not always aware of what someone can be going through. A loved one can exhibit signs of depression, but never vocalize them. Akinyemi Oluwasegun's article in the 2023 issue of the San Francisco Public Library of Science talks about this concern, beginning with the fact that 33% of suicide attempts occur in people who have no prior contact with mental health services, making identification of other ecological factors that increase the risk of suicide imperative. The research presented offers suicide as the second leading cause of death among individuals aged 10 to 34 years, and the fourth leading cause of death for individuals aged 35 to 44 years. Some of us have firsthand experience as relatives of immigrants to this country, mostly the older generation, who have a harder time acknowledging the potential harm to their mental health. Placing a stigma on a medical condition that can be treated makes it more difficult for one to seek help. As Donna McCabe states in her article from the 2023 issue of Geriatric Nursing, older adults have seen an increase in overall prevalence of mental health conditions, and related disability has risen post-pandemic. To add to this, she further states that 20% of persons over the age of 60 years are living with a mental health substance abuse disorder, collectively termed behavioral health. As members of a diverse community, the inequalities in accessing services such as medical care every day are visible. These inequalities that exist within the community can vary from income levels, ethnicity, and neighborhoods we live in. In the 2023 issue of Journal of Mental Health, Michael Kalkbrenner's article highlights these differences, mainly how when compared to their white counterparts, Black and Latinx adults in the United States tend to face unequal access to medical and mental health services. This goes one step further in his observation that Latinx and Black adults in the United States are less likely to utilize mental health support services when compared to their white counterparts. This research shows us that depression and mental health problems overall are more complex than most and require a solution to match the severity. The statistic provided by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration in 2021 found that around 41.7 million adults in the United States received treatment or counseling for mental health in the past year, adding that those between the ages of 18 and 44 are most likely to receive counseling or therapy than older adults. When talking about the elder generation, Cindy Sangling states in her article, Trauma, Post-Migration, Stress, and Mental Health, a comparative analysis of refugees in the United States, that community organizations, social service agencies, and mental health service providers are well poised to address the needs of diverse populations like ours, but there is greater need for training to identify mental health issues, specifically for immigrant community members. There is much to be achieved from implementing solutions that would provide drastic and much needed change. A solution to the problem of neglect can come in the form of more mental health providers that are better equipped to cater to our diverse communities that are otherwise excluded from receiving access to such help. People who address People who have easier access to resources that can help address their mental health concerns would improve their sense of self-esteem, while allowing for individuals who require help such as medication or hospitalization to receive it and perhaps save them, the public, from potential harm. Having information available in the languages most common in our communities, along with providers trained to attend the needs of a diverse community, would allow for a wider net of the population to receive the attention they need without having to face any stigma or fear of backlash. There is a process that should be followed in order to begin and implement the solution to address the disparity in how fellow community members receive mental health care. Making resources available in multiple languages would help reach those who feel excluded by a language barrier, and in turn make them feel part of their surroundings. Programs available to workers in industries most affected by problems such as depression should be able to prioritize their mental health with the same urgency as a physical injury. Routine screening for mental health disorders at regular doctor's appointments or physicals can assist in helping treat the issue before it becomes a problem. As a whole, the city would look and feel differently if we were able to receive the counseling and treatment needed. Our community would speak more openly about problems like mental health and depression, and it would not be as problematic as it is today. If this level of neglect towards our mental well-being continues, it'll only add to the many negative statistics that already exist within our community. Today I talked about the problems of what happens when the community fails to address the problems caused by neglect to our mental health. I presented information that narrowed down what these problems are. Research shows that communities of color are discriminated against the most when searching for resources for mental health. The numbers show that only a select age group is choosing to seek out treatment and other resources, leaving behind the older generation. The development of programs and implementing simple changes such as early screenings provides progress in addressing this problem. In order to begin the conversation about mental health, try reaching out to a loved one today just to see how they're doing. With the most recent reporting from the Center for Disease Control that almost 9% of children ages 5 to 11 years in the United States have received counseling or therapy from a mental health professional, there is hope for the future for mental health treatment.
I have a question.